desire leads to suffering. You're on a karmactic wheel. None of this is actual.
So that we don't
This is
suffer
all dream.
alone.
This is all Maya.
So that we don't suffer alone. We know what it is to suffer. And humanity has to be
Yes, but
social.
This again seems to be speak of precisely the reason why a pagan deity might refer to us as pathetic humans. It's the pathos thing. It's getting it confused with the passions of Christ here. Where what we got here is and by the way, people do that a lot. You see these dudes up and down on their knees all over, like, whatever. Anyway. It's sorry, what was I? Karmactic wheel, what
Well,
were we?
you were talking about the suffering comes from desire.
Yeah, look,
And why-
that doesn't mean you shouldn't love things. That should mean you should love things more. You should desire things more. If all desire leads to suffering, it doesn't mean it's not worth the risk of, it's, I don't mean to sound like Shakespeare to say better to have loved and lost, because truly, no, it sounds like this dude hasn't really had that many broken hearts for all his Romeo and Juliets. It was like, I don't know where that came from. But,
Or maybe his hearts have been broken too many times that he really used to it.
thank you. Yeah, no, he's jaded as all bejesus. Yeah, now, you know what? Sure.
Yeah. This happens to me all the time.
Yeah, I know. It's like, poor thing. I'm sorry your daddy missed that many dance recitals. Anyways, we go to the sorry, there was just a certain uncouthness about this one. Where was I? Conceptually, this isn't even really what I wanted to touch upon. Singularity theory was more about it. The fact that the golden section is the only place that math seems to be true.
Okay, talk about the singularity and where math is zero.
If it might be why, as I was diagnosed with dyslexia, it might just be my brain is intuitively rejecting the impression that math might be real. A bird knows it's instinctive. I'm not saying it isn't real, it's just not true. It's only real here in this part of the golden section, on this outer edge of the galaxy, which has a giant singularity in the middle of it. We're all circling like a toilet bowl, remember? Now, if time and space stop there, and everything equals zero, which is interesting to think about from the Bushman's perspective, where they go on walkabouts because it's dream time. That would be dream space-time. That would be Maya again from Buddha. But if all space-time ends there, and we don't even know what happens on the further out on the rim of the galaxy, is there more or less math, or does math only exist right here in this very, very, very golden section? Because right now, a lot of things about us don't make a whole lot of mathematical sense. Our moon is way too big. The Jovian planets that we have at the outside, they're keeping us safe, and so is the moon. From a bunch of different asteroid collisions, you see how the moon looks like it constantly needs, Oxy-10. It's because it's getting hit with, like planet killers that we're not. That's why its crust is gone in spots. It's got Maya, or Mara, or no, it's Maria. It's Maria. It's spelled Maria, my sister's name, but it's Maria. It's these beautiful moon shadows. Is that bloody crust on the His mantle was all naked.
Right, but if you
All exposed.
if you watch documentaries, there's been some scientific fact that the newer dust on the moon is below the older dust.
Yeah, sure. The thing might easily be hollow because it doesn't have any tectonic movement. The point being is that part of its non-moving crust has just been blown the crap off by asteroids, by planet killers that didn't hit us. Things that, would cause big mass extinctions, which have happened all but 5 times. Anyway, but let me not. It doesn't real and it's all, God, where was I going?
I want to know more about your singularity.
Yeah, I was trying to get back to that. It's just like I had this whole thing about abundance versus scarcity psychology and Gestalt and the whole being subsets of each other, and I can't remember where the hell I was going with that now. I think it might be, yes, it's because math and reason and rationality. The word rationality itself means limitation. You're using scarcity psychology. You need exact and precise measurements. That's what's important about it. That doesn't mean it's not an aesthetic in and of itself. It's magical, right? But if you look at irrationality, the word itself means ratio, limited. It's got parameters. If you have something that's irrational, like an irrational number, it's without limitation. It means it's unlimited. And a lot of Aristotelians had a real problem with this. We've got a problem with this in Western thought. We look around and we see a rational, limited universe. We see limited space-time, and every time we study quantum physics, it says that this is infinite. It doesn't look like what it is, so it isn't what it is. There is no end of the day. This is a field. And there is no space-time, actually. There just seems like there is. It seems like 2 + 2 = 4. It's not, a mind that was consumed with what was true might actually go for something other than what was real. But yeah, and that would explain a lot about ether physics and the dream space-time continuum. If we go back to our Dungeons and Dragons model of the universe, where we've got, the unsealed court and the sealed court of the fairies as the positive and negative material planes, and 4 elemental planes, and however many para-elemental planes, they're all linked together by ether. Here, we've taken a deep leap into CERN's quantum physics, where now we're dealing with a completely sympathetic voodoo universe. That means that our universe is actually dealing with bound harmonic particles. If that's, we will have like to like. We'll have once joined, always joined. There will be some sort of etheric bond, a time-space dream bond between things. It would be ridiculous to presume that there was no such thing as empathy or telepathy. Chances are we're just crappy at it.
Yeah, I think there's some telepathy going on.
There can't not be. The plants are doing it. They're like, for God's sake, we've done this with. Remember, we had the plant in the lab where a guy actually tied an electromagnetic.
Yeah, to the center of the earth, and it grew better.
No, but one of those experiments at Stanford, they had somebody come in and tie a lie detector up to a plant, realized that it had an electromagnetic field on its own, could measure its ups and downs, what it was sort of feeling. Had somebody come in and burn it at one point, and the plant's electromagnetic field went.
Yeah.
Person walks out of the room, the plant starts to get better, feels better. The person walks back into the room, doesn't burn it, and it goes. Recognizes him because it drinks with its eyes. It's absorbing electromagnetic fields, which gets me back to karma, the whole thing with the chakras. Because again, that would be electromagnetic field theory that suddenly turns your entire nervous system into a paraneural antenna. And so we could receive signals this way as well. Why wouldn't it? You figure that's basically what a fungus is, and your brain and your nervous system kind of look like an upside down walking tree. Its roots on top, a little ball. So I was going somewhere else with this. Yeah, so you have a dream space continuum, infinite space, infinite time. It's something that seems like it's not an illusion. You'll have dream interacting with reality a lot more than we thought, simply because it has to do with space-time and quantum mechanically. Something is away in either space or time. The less quantum contingency, or the more quantum contingency and the more of an uncollapsed quantum wave it becomes, the less real it becomes. That means the actual historical events that we don't have really firm knowledge of could become really fuzzy on the edges in all actuality, depending on which quantum observer is thinking about them or trying to perceive. So if you're going back in time, you have some interesting things happen that you might not expect, but not the least of which is the universe would have moved and you'd be back in time. But anyways, let's see. One of the real questions I've got is if all this is true, And of all this role-playing game jazz just does add up, and you really do have any theory field that is sort of extending on out into some sort of astral, paradise or, Eternia, or what's the word? Imperium? Yeah, Imperium, or anyways. If that's true, how come Buddha, who's dealing with Maya, with dream space-time, having a conversation with him, is using the word Tana, instead of Kama? How come he says, when he says all, or not in his conversation with Maya, I don't think, it might have been, I don't know. But one of his quotes is, why did he say this? Why did he not use the word Kama, as in Kama Sutra, the thread of pleasure or the thread of desire? Why not? Why did he use the other word when he's clearly in a adverse relationship with dream space-time and wants to merge with Karma, who has a crush on him otherwise? Why not say, oh, Karma leads to suffering? Why not say all karma leads to suffering to begin with? But why not say all karma as well? He's in a conversation with Maya. How is even Maya his enemy if this is dream space-time? Is it just sensual temptation? Is it just... I'm starting to wonder if it is original title was what? What was it? Beloved of Brahma? The devoted to Brahma, right?
The Kama Sutra?
No, Siddhartha. When he's Nepalese, when he was a prince or whatever, or after he got really disenchanted and shocked, traumatized.
Mm-hmm.
When he's over that, he's called, what is it? Beloved of Buddha, or devotee of Brahma. Wait a minute, is he Brahma, right?
I think so, yeah.
You think so? Okay, great. Well, you're my source.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so if he's devoted to Brahma, and Brahma is in, I think, some sort of familial relationship with Maya, how is Maya his enemy? How is dream space-time his enemy? How would the etheric field be his enemy? How would the quantum continuum be his enemy? It's just interesting that if the whole thing is actually operating on an underlying current of synchronicity and serendipity the entire time, that means that there is actually working voodoo in the universe. That means you can make signified relationships where a pipe is a pipe. Or might as well be, it's virtually a pipe. I'm just wondering if he was a devotee of Brahma, and if there's even a chance, if all this is true, why is Eden called? Eden actually translates at, which would be again the thread of desire. Eden actually translates as the word in the Strong's Chaldee Hebrew Concordance, or Hebrew Chaldee Concordance, as delight. The thing is that it's not the way it's used in context. At one point, Sarah says in her heart, "Well, my husband and I have delight in our old age." When Abraham is receiving the visitation from the angel who says, "Your wife will be pregnant this time this year," she's like, probably giggling because she's like, "Well, he hasn't really gotten it up in quite some time, but that would be cool." And it's delight. It's not just abundance of fertility, it's abundance of delight. And so in that case, I'm wondering if there was a chance that when the Ruach, the Spirit of God, moved on the deep, it hovered like a mother hen over its chicks and shook, vibrated. And it was like, oh, this is going to be so good. that part always made me wonder. It's a feminine nature for God, and it's supposed to be motherly, but it's supposed to be ruckus and powerful as all crap. It's really kind of scary. And it's doing something scary in a completely dark and otherwise, like, beneath abysmal and benthic situation. It's dealing with, like, negative, the gradations on oblivion after you've, subtracted all the orthogonal lines possible from point zero. If that's happening there, then is there any way that all creation was actually like a surprise, like an addictive surprise of life? All these things with dark gods, or negative, or whatever God saw that was good. That sort of implies what happened before wasn't. Is there any way that we're all basically like bodhisattvas with that are actually dark gods with noblesse oblige, and basically when God said, "Let there be Brahma," there was virtue. But I'm not putting it in that corny a phrase. That's wrong. It's still a mixed metaphor. But those are the questions that I've got in my head, and I'm wondering if anybody knows the answer, because I don't. That would be something cool to figure out, and it would be interesting to sit there and backfire that idea off of a lot of Warhammer subtext, which we come into play once we start dealing with the Dungeons and Dragons metaphor for ultra cosmology, which would be interesting because it would line up with the throne of God in Ezekiel, Isaiah, and Revelation, with the tetramorphs. Wheels within a wheels could have been Kalabiyao manifolds, and they might have been the spirit of the angels rested on the wheels with the wind, with the wheels that were the eyes. Well, if they're Kalabiyao manifolds, and we're in a Kalabiyao manifold, our little thread of an insignificant part of continuum in a tiny golden section where math is actually working and space and dream time is real, then they're breathing through the blowhole that we're in. A tetramorph would still be like an elemental thing. Anyway, let me let you go. That's about where I'm at.